Welcome into Fox 13 Unscripted. I'm your host today, Blake Devine, and I'm joined by Nataliya Scarberry. She is a remarkable woman with a great backstory, originally from Russia, has been in Tampa for quite some time, and now you're dabbling in the AI space. Nataliya, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
First question, for those that don't know, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and what you do.
So my name is Nataliya Scarberry, and I run a digital marketing agency, CONTENU, based here in Tampa Bay. We've been in business for years.
And I guess tell me a little bit about what first got you to America, to Tampa, originally from Russia. So culturally, it's probably been a lot different, but you've been here for quite some time now.
Yes, I've been here for 26 years, and I was 19 years old. It was 26 years ago. I fell in love with a young man, and he was in his 20s. I moved here. I was still in college, and I was from St. Petersburg, Russia, surrounded by art and studied art history there as well. So, moved here and stayed.
Yeah, and you started your first company at 22 years old. That's pretty outstanding. A lot of people are still in school or maybe staying an extra year of school, but you were already going.
So, once I arrived here, I realized I needed to put my feet on the ground. And I was in St. Petersburg. I was surrounded by a lot of art and culture my field of study was that. But in the United States, especially here in Tampa, this is not something that, I realized I could do. So, but I saw the opportunities to create a business and all this, create a small business. So I started a travel agency because I realized that would put my feet on the ground. And then also I had the idea to bring my family over and my younger sister over from Russia. So, and I had it for 13 years, and we served. We had exclusive contract rates for airline tickets. That was all before Travelocity and Expedia for immigrants like me going from United States back to Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
Ukraine, Belarus, Russia, Poland, all of those, and also visa support. That was our
expertise. So you're above the bell curve with all that when the internet really started to get going.
Before it's even started. Yeah, that was our main thing. And it was very successful.
And then I want to hear a little bit about climbing into a leadership role at HSN. How did you get involved with that?
So it was actually... So while I was having my travel agency, I felt like it was not a creative thing at all, and I felt like my soul is gonna die if I'll continue this way. So I had to figure out something to do that would be creative. So I kind of stopped doing, stopped doing the travel agency and decided to get a certificate in interior design. And also we created a lot of interesting conceptual dining experience with Jamie Oliver Foundation, which essentially actually was featured on Jamie Oliver Foundation. So a lot of, creative, beautiful experiences. And that's how I created creative portfolio. And I got to work in HSN as a set stylist. So that was not obviously a leadership probably. This was just, but it was a very creative job, but starting from zero. Then very quickly I kind of grew into the art direction and then worked with a lot of celebrities, creating set designs and doing art direction. And then was working for Joy Mangana, who was, she owned $2 billion brand on HSN, the biggest brand over there. And I was design producer and creative director there.
Wow. So you really rose up the ranks very fast. What was your favorite experience about that? I mean, at its peak, you were helping out with the national broadcast, reaching over 90 million households. What was that experience like?
That was surreal, actually. And there was a lot of long hours shooting live TV and also commercials that we're doing for big national companies that were broadcasted everywhere. But the main thing that HSN taught me is that I realized that through that such television broadcast, you can create, not just the decoration, but you can actually, through creative direction, you can create narrative that people will trust, believe, and buy things. So that's really, phenomenal power. I recognize that.
Was there anything like HSN in Russia when you grew up watching television, or was it a completely new concept?
I think when I left, they had a lot of similar things. When I was younger, I'm not sure. But I think, in 2000s, they had something like that. But I was not exposed to that at all.
What was the biggest lesson you learned working on that project and all those shows? What was the biggest lesson?
So, my biggest lesson, just like I said, is that there's an incredible power from everything that I learned, create the sets, create creative and art direction for companies, and how that storytelling. It's not just about, a product itself. It's about that storytelling narrative that essentially I took it from that experience, then going into school to Duke University to study digital media marketing. And that's what is at the core of my company now. That storytelling experience that essentially moves people into trusting and then, buying things.
Definitely. So when did you end up going back to school? You said you went to Duke. Was that an MBA program? What type of was that a graduate level?
So that was I had my bachelor's degree from St. Petersburg State University, but it was not an MBA program, but it was an extended 2-year program for digital media marketing.
Okay.
That essentially specialized in that. And so when I was working in Home Shopping Network, it was a QVC acquisition, and we all got let go, essentially.
And what year was that about?
That was 2014, I believe. Yeah,
2013?
2014.
14. Okay, gotcha.
And tried to negotiate with the HSN, but I think it was a big liability for QVC to hold the whole conglomerate. And after long negotiations, this whole the whole leg got dissolved. So I found myself in a very difficult situation. I was a single mom at the time too, so just thinking that I have my career on the path, that it's sort of like just completely now going backwards.
Uprooted.
What do
you didn't know where to turn next.
What do you do? And having that knowledge, understanding that experience from Home Shopping Network, how that storytelling can be amplified and how it carries an enormous power. I thought, okay, going to school to study digital media marketing, that would be amazing. So that was that time. And then the same time, I got a job in local glass art museum here in St. Petersburg, and COVID started actually, like it's after that. And so actually that happened in 2019. So now I remember, 2014.
5-year jump. Yeah.
No. For 2014, I actually started working in the HSN. So.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
2019 that's when the dissolution happened.
Well,
and
what a time, because you
so
might have lost your
right
job anyways because of the COVID. There's so many losses
and
of
so
job.
I went into working at the museum 2019 and started studying at digital media marketing in 2019. So right before COVID started, and as soon as COVID started, and I was already, studying the digital media marketing, the museum was closed, and we basically decided to do digital transformation and entertain and educate people while everybody was locked down about glass art. And I was so lucky to be able to utilize everything that I was learning and all my production experience, because it's a beautiful museum, beautiful art pieces. So
excellent. Well, we're going to take our first little break here, and we're going to come back and learn a little more about the second phase of your career, and we will be right back for another part of Unscripted. Welcome back to Fox 13 Unscripted. I'm Blake Devine, and joined by me today is Nataliya Scarberry. She is a local entrepreneur and now an AI expert. And she was telling us earlier a little bit about her career pivot after working at the shopping network for years and years and years. And then all of a sudden, COVID happened, job layoffs, you had to pivot, and you were going to school at Duke for digital media marketing. So I want to go back to that time. What was it like doing school completely virtually and working at the same time?
Actually, like I after working for Home Shopping Network, I got a job at Imagine Museum, and while working at the Imagine Museum, I joined Duke University for Digital Media Marketing program, and it was online program to begin with. So when it was an interesting time, and as I said, the museum was closed, but we were able to create the whole of the Glass Art Museum into the world. So it was a phenomenal time. We could do interviews with glass artists, commercials, retail, a lot of retail amplification.
You used a lot of the same skill sets you had learned from your years working behind the scenes in TV.
And that's why I depicted the value of that. And at that point, I realized that I will open an agency that we will be specializing on killer visual content, and we will plug it in all the digital space. So that was just my learning curve at the museum. And then actually when museum opened, we doubled the revenue of the museum. So
there was a demand because you had built up all this excitement online, social media, all your interactive videos, so that when the museum opened, people were excited to go.
People were excited. We had a lot of kids that were coming in, a lot of audience that were never even interested to come to that type of museum started to come in. So it was an interesting experience.
And at the same time, you got your degree. What year did you finish up over there?
So that 2022.
Okay. And you knew you wanted to do your own agency at that point?
So yeah, I started marketing agency, CONTENU, and I was able to transfer Imagine Museum into being my client. So they stayed to be my client, and I opened an agency in 2022. So it's almost 4 years now.
4 years. And how has it grown over the last 4 years as we have now gotten into the age of AI? And how have you incorporated that into your own field?
So it's interesting. This is the most important thing right now in our industry is AI. And actually, I think that my whole story is about reinvention, because I always had to reinvent myself. But I feel like right now this is what all businesses have to do, and everybody with their AI. It's almost like we had this transformation of television, then digital, and now we have AI. And so we have clients in medical space and construction space that we produce omni-channel marketing, meaning social media, paid ads on Google, creating websites, creating very strong branding, beautiful visual content that converts. But right now we understand that it's super important to create because let's say when you used to search something, you would go into Google and you would say, okay, what is the best, dentist near me? And you would have pages and pages, right, of different suggested companies. Nowadays, a lot of people go into AI, ChatGPT or Perplexity or Claude, and you have only 3 options. And if business is not one of those options,
you're not getting the
You're
clicks
not getting
or
anything.
the calls.
It's still, the ads are still converting. Our clients are consistently still getting the businesses, so it's fine. But we realize that we need to immediately pivot everything. So I myself started to educate myself, joined a lot of different courses. Every single of most of our non-content contractors and employers also was forced essentially to learn aggressively that. So we're restructuring everybody, all of our clients, around the AI, because even the very well ranked websites that could have been ranked like number 1 in Google, a lot of times will not show at AI. So it's a whole complete new.
How do you get a certain website to show up as the prompt on ChatGPT or another chat box versus, does it use the Google algorithm or does it use its own algorithm?
So there's a lot of things goes into that. So the one of the main things is trusted authority. So the structure has to be in place, just like for Google, but the structure is slightly different. You know, the answers, the way how content is laid out has to be much shorter and much more precise. If before it was all based on predicated on keywords that's positioned, and that's how Google would pick it up. And now it's queries, so the whole content has to be structured a little bit differently. And but also traffic content, the authority, that essentially ChatGPT, there's a lot of different layers, but one of the most important ones is the traffic content. And traffic content is your reviews, your trusted authority articles, just something that is laid out as a foundation, you know, your social media, just anything that is answering that query.
Because it's all filtering that when it asks. I'm just giving an example, but I'm hungry for a pizza. Where can I get a pizza? And it'll pop up 3 things. And if you're not one of those 3, as you said, it's like really hard to get the traffic. And with now so many people using AI on an everyday basis, you want to be one of those 3 or 4 or 5 that they're listing.
And one thing that I have to say, especially for the local businesses, because it's a lot of work, it's a lot of different structural things that you have to change. Maybe you even have to rebuild a wonderful website that served you for years, but now, you know, the system, the layout of the pages also has to be, you know, a certain way. But the easiest way to do it through Google My Business. All the local businesses have, you know, Google My Business card, and just to change the Google My Business card, update it. There is a Q&A questions there. Get those filled out. There is also reviews section. Have on top of that, and actually have that embedded into your website, because that's that authority signal. So, you know, it's a lot of things, but it's also, you know, an authority signals built into.
Well, let me ask you, give me an example, maybe a client that you work with that you have pivoted to more of this AI model and it's worked well for them. Do you have any examples?
Absolutely, yeah. I do. So we have a dental clinic, Riverview Dental Arts. We worked with them for years, and we build a lot of social media presence, Google ads, Meta ads. We build a website for them, email marketing, but SEO, search engine optimization. But we decided not even to charge them anything for AI, because while we were still trying to figure it out. The main thing how we changed, we essentially started to record content based on the queries, that we can pull up all the queries that people are searching. And so we're recording a content that is shot with that leaders of that business. And we plug it in a systematic way, so it pulls up, but based on the queries, in the clusters of topics that people are searching for. So if people
are asking questions about their teeth, or do I need to see a dentist? Is this a cavity? It might be pulling pictures from that you guys have already planted onto the internet.
It's actually not just pictures, it's videos. Our kind of unique offer proposition in this case, because I'm strong proponent of branding, and especially right now in the age of AI, branding is so important, because like while AI structuring, like looking for structures, for credibility, for sources, humans still depict by you just need to have that soul of the brand. You need a heartbeat. So while we creating that system that AI recognize, the components of that system is built through the content that full of authenticity and, you know, particular like branding, or reflect the soul of that brand. And that's what we've been done for, not just with Riverview Dental Arts and few other clients. And yeah, they already start seeing clients, and we can actually see the exact queries that people were searching in order to find them, or in general in order to find businesses like them. And we are checking all those things on a daily basis.
Well, it is definitely a whole new adventure with AI, but we're going to take one more quick break, and we'll come right back and we'll hear a little more about your findings, joined by Nataliya Scarberry, my apologies. We will be right back. Welcome back to Fox 13 Unscripted. I'm joined by Nataliya Scarberry. She's telling us all about this new AI world and how it's going to affect every single part of your life. And let me just ask you, with all the clients that you're working with in different sectors, what is the biggest lesson or takeaway that people should know in this new AI era?
I think first of all, we'll get very scary and anxious about it, and I think we shouldn't be, because it's everybody's figuring that out. So I think it's a good time to do that. And another thing is everybody should not be intimidated, because I see a lot of times that business owners who had businesses for 20 and 30 years, they're like, oh no, this is for junior people to figure it out, and they assign to work with different AI tools or how to configure AI into their space, and they assign your junior people who think that they are much better with technology. However, it's not about technology, because you can just speak to AI and build the structures. So I would advise, especially the senior business owners, to get the grasp, at least learn the basics, and that would be so helpful. And it's like amplify your business times 10. Just don't be afraid, just go in. And another thing is super important, I think, is do it, don't forget personal branding, because we have, for that is the truth. I think we have about year and a half before the digital avatars are going to take over. Right now, it's still the time when we can create that authentic trust, because at the end of the day, people do business with those who they know, like, and trust. And if you cannot know somebody personally through online, through social media, and building the personal branding, that's how you can still create that.
It sort of sounds like a fast-moving train, and either you're going to hop on the train and go to the new direction, or you're not going to get on and you might get left in the dust. Is that the true reality of where we're going with how fast it's moving?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And let me ask you this. For those that have had a little apprehension, what do you think is the biggest barrier that people have when they think of AI? Is it just an automatic assumption that it's negative and they're not willing to learn about how it can help them with their business?
I think the main assumption is not necessarily that it's negative, it's complicated and it's too techy, that it's for people who has to be technologically advanced. This is not the case at all. Yes, maybe you need to maybe hire somebody who will help you create an agent, but you have to look at that as a conductor, or just as a business owner. AI will give you an opportunity to look from more like a helicopter view on your life or on your business. You can also incorporate your life and your business, so it will work more efficiently. So I think the biggest misconception is the fear of starting and just not going in and thinking, okay, this is technology, and it's scared, and everybody's sitting there and afraid that it's going to replace their jobs. So I think it's just like that transformation. We used to have, computers came into the place, then internet, and now AI is just, everything is restructuring, and whether we like it or not, it's here, and it's like a baby still, and it's in our hands to help raise it, and how we help raise it. So the choice is either to give it to somebody, or to utilize our expertise, our values, and our integrity in order to how to use that.
Very well said. Well, just to kind of wrap things all up, you came here at the age of 19. You've rebuilt your career several times, and now you're starting on a new venture, a podcast. Tell me a little bit about that, and just how you're trying to highlight others that have had maybe a similar-ish path to you.
So I have a YouTube show called Americans by Choice, and I started it this year. It's a YouTube show about and hence the name, about immigrants who choose to leave everything behind, come to this country, and start a business.
And that has started now. And the podcast, how can people watch or listen?
Just go into YouTube and type Americans by Choice. We also have a social media, Americans by Choice.
Awesome. Well, Nataliya, it was so nice to meet you and hear your story. It's very inspiring, and I look forward to continuing to watch how you're evolving all your clients throughout this area. And that was another episode of Fox 13 Unscripted. I'm Blake Devine, and we will be back for the next one.